Welcome to the From the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's a Twitter-like whore, an Instagram thirst trap, and your grandma's guilty pleasure, Beef Loaf. A West Coast attitude in a decidedly Midwest body, My Sox Summer. And your host, he's sharing obscure music thoughts to give you time to hit the bathroom, Teresa E.
Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beefloaf references a meme or says he talked about this on the au jus, you drink. If My Sox Summer mentions his time on the West Coast or blames his kids for something, you drink. If I swear or say here's the thing, you drink. And if Alex Rude mentions bestsellers, Best Buys, or possible three-ways, you drink. Also, you can make any of us shut the fuck up for 5 minutes by tipping $5, and you can make all of us drink by tipping $1.08 or more. So tonight, I'm not going to do any special stuff with My Sox Summer because we have a guest, but I do want to know from you fellas, what are you drinking? Beef, I'm going to start with you. What are you drinking?
Baby, I'm finishing it up from the birthday boy. Happy birthday today, Douglas. Dougie Fresh.
Happy birthday, Dougie.
I'm finishing out the last of the special surprise whiskeys. So I'm on 10, 11, and 12 tonight. Really
The
looking
last
forward to
of the
knocking these
peanut
down.
brittle.
It is, yeah. It's, I saved it as a summer treat for myself, and here we go. And it smells tremendous, like number 10. Really, and I got the honker to get in there.
Oh, man.
That
it
apple
smells
one
good,
Did you have that apple one that tasted like apples? It was like a
I don't
bourbon. It was like a Buffalo Trace.
I didn't have any
bottle.
apple schnapps.
So
No, this is all whiskey, I believe. But I'm looking forward to it.
Fucking hate you.
Thank you, baby.
Hate you sometimes.
My Sox Summer, what are you drinking?
As you know, I have a taste, and then I get into the good stuff. Or the not so good stuff. I did the Whiskey Acres, finished in maple barrels, maple whatever. I don't know. I had a taste of that. That was really good. Whiskey Acres. Gonna try to get that sponsorship for myself, and then I should probably remember their products though, and then I'll get there better. And then tonight I'm just gonna drink the Bardstown Fusions. As everybody knows, I bought 17 of these from Costco, and I'm putting them down. So it's going
17,
good.
huh?
No, I bought like 7.
Oh.
But still, that's a
only
lot.
7?
It's fucking delicious. It's delicious. Chorizo, what are you drinking tonight?
I went down to the old 7-Eleven, and my 7-Eleven that's jammed Pipeworks, and I got the Schwartz
nice.
beer.
Oh,
Yeah, a little something.
Ooh, Schwartz.
Yeah, a little dark,
Nice.
but a little bit light. All
yeah.
at the same time. Kind of love
Man.
it. I mean, I miss
dry
the Beta
Schwartz.
Brow one. The Beta Brow.
Yeah,
dry
that was a
Schwartz
good beer. I enjoyed
was
that.
one of the best.
Had King Tut on there.
That was back when My Sox Summer drank beer, Treasy.
I did.
Back in those days.
What a wild time that was.
Crazy.
That's right.
My Sox Summer, how you
Insane.
doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. And as I teased earlier on the 108 Main, we have a special announcement tonight. And I'm going to pull up a graphic just to announce it. But I've worn this now 2 weeks in a row, the Shrimp Side shirt. Everyone's like, what's Shrimp Side mean? What's that mean? What's up with that shirt, dog? Bam! That's what's up with that shirt, dog. We're going to have a nice meal package that you can get over at Lawrence's. Now, it's only available at the Canal Street location, which is 2120 South Canal Street, which is right by the park. Okay, very, very close. Now, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get 1 pound of the original large shrimp, okay? You're going to get 1 pound of the chicken tenders, and you're going to get a choice of 2 sides. You can have, I think there's okra, there's French fries, there's mushrooms, there's onion rings. Stick with the fries. They're really good, but you can get any of that shit that you want. Okay, you get a choice of 2, and you get a 4-pack cooler of Modelo's, or you can ask them for White Claws, and they'll just swap it out for you. Or if you want water, they'll do that too, which would be dumb, but go for it. Or you can do pop. So any way you want to swing it, that's what you're going to get. Plus, they're going to throw you a Shrimp Side shirt. Now, we're not going to sell these shirts. Okay, they're not going to sell these shirts. They're only available with this deal. Now, if you're paying attention at home, what the price here, just for the food and the booze alone, is 30% off what they charge. And you get a free t-shirt, and you get a tote, like a little cooler tote with 4 drinks in it. So now you can just stop by Go over there. Pick that shit up. Go right to the parking lot. 2, maybe if you don't eat a lot, 4 people. You know, we can work it all out. It's a great deal. You can call ahead now, here, you guys.
That starts this weekend, right?
Starts tomorrow.
Ooh, baby.
Tomorrow. So there was a guy there today. And I don't know if he's a fan or whatnot, but he goes, "Bro, what's up with those shirts?" And I go, "We're giving these away starting tomorrow." Guy's like, "I got to come back tomorrow and get one of these shirts." And I'm like, "There you go." I go, "It's $60 for you to eat all this food." And they're going to be, I'm assuming they're going to fly off. If you're a very weird size, like a big, large size, 6X, 5X, 4X, they got them. But you better get your ass there early because they don't have a lot of them. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So you don't thinking, oh, man, they're only going to give away mediums and extra larges. No, fuck that shit. We're better than the Sox. We got small all the way through 6X. We just don't have a lot of them, but we have them. So get your ass over there, 2120 South Canal. And fucking order this meal package. It's great for dinners. It's great for lunches. It's great in the parking lot. It's great whatever time. Boys, I've always been resilient to order stuff online. You can order this online. Go in, pick it up. You don't even have to worry about it. You just go in, grab it, go right to the lot. It's quick, simple.
Man.
Cubs are coming to town. Can't be any easier. Cannot be any easier. Go get yourself a free shirt. Boom.
Yeah, those
Bitches.
Tuesday, Wednesday night games, you know? Like...
Yeah.
You're kind of rushing from work. You just going straight to the park. It's perfect deal. I love it.
It's great.
And I love all the stuff that's included. Like those are all my favorite things. So
my Sox Summer, you said you got it tonight.
I did.
Did you sub out the White Claws or did you stick with the Modelo? When
She gave me Modelo's.
Okay, all right.
And I was like, I don't drink beer. And she's like, just take the fucking Modelo's. And I was like, all right, I will.
Good. I'm glad to hear
And I was
that.
going to bring it down and show the cooler tote because it's actually pretty nice. Like I can 100% see all our wives sneaking, their drinks in there when we go somewhere, at another time. Like it's not like, oh, it's a one-time use only. No, man, it's a canvas tote. It's pretty dope, So yeah, I'm impressed with it. The cost is like so under below what it would be for market. And plus, I mean, if you're going to the ball game, dude, you can't get 4 beers for $60 these days. I tell you, you can't.
And the shirt design is an MSS original. God. It's a gorgeous shirt. I mean, like I just love that shirt,
And it's a premium shirt. It's not the real thick cotton ones, that we sometimes try to pass off as premium shirts. No, that's not what we did. We went premium shirt this time. It is 50-50 cotton poly. It is a nice lightweight shirt. It's tailored fit. It's a tailored fit, but you can put your arms in it like your boy does and go and you get a little bit more room in the waist time. You know what I'm saying?
That's what he does in the afternoon. No one's home.
Hey, we got a drink here. Singer Sox. He said, just mowed my lawn, enjoying a Tecate Tall Boy. Cheers. Hopefully it's a Tecate Titanium.
Oh,
yeah, those are dope.
But yeah, Tecates, that's my speed too, man.
Yummy.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. Let's get over there. Get to the fucking canal. We don't ask you to do shit.
Tonight?
Do it now.
Boys, I had a weekend by myself. A few of you guys know I put it out there a little bit on Twitter. I ordered $50 worth of Wendy's.
How much?
It was $36 before fees, Treasy. $36 before fees. Two fries. So you trick them into thinking it's for 2 people, but it really was all just for me. I had a couple spicy chickens, all the fries, a lot of nugs. It was quite a meal. That was the kind of weekend I was trying to have. But what I realized is I have some golden rules for when the wife goes out of town. And when I'm staying back home. And I think as a man who's been married over 20 years, I feel like I should start sharing some of my wisdom with all you noobs out there who don't know anybody. You haven't been married that long, or maybe you just got a girlfriend or whatever. So this is for the fellas. When your girl is out of town, these are my 3 golden rules when the woman goes out of town. Number 1, do not, under any circumstances, call or text her about instructions to do any rudimentary tasks around the house or things that are part of your lifestyle. If you don't know how to do something, just figure it out and risk doing it wrong. I do this all the time, putting things away or whatever. I put in the wrong spot. That's fine, but you gave the effort. Do not bother them when they're on vacation, and don't make it seem like you're a total idiot, even if you are a total idiot. You got to play it off like you're not a fucking idiot. All right? You guys agree with this rule or no?
I like the rule. I'm just imagining you with the house in fucking disarray, just
no
water
way.
shooting out of
No way,
everywhere.
kid.
Like there's shit broken. The cats are on the ceiling, and you're just like, I can't text. I can't tell anyone what's happening right now.
The Roombas are broken.
What you're envisioning
The
right
Roombas
there,
are stacked somehow.
what you guys are envisioning is loser husband talk right there. We don't tolerate that here. We got winning husband talk here. Number 2. All right, number 2. You need to have a seemingly boring time. Anything that you love to do that you know your wife thinks is super fucking boring or dumb or a drag, that's all the shit you do when they're gone, okay? Believe me, you want her to think she's having a much better time than you, even if that shit's not true. Like, I love playing online poker, and I was watching Sopranos conspiracy theories on YouTube. I was having a great time, but she felt bad that I was doing all this boring, mundane shit while I was at home. So roll out all the things you know she doesn't like that you do like to do. So not only do you get the benefit of doing them, she feels bad for you a little bit that she went on vacation. Okay, Tracy, you feeling me on this or what? You like this or what?
Not so much for the part of like she feels bad about it.
Yeah.
I just like doing all that boring shit. So like I mean like I'm
a little sympathy.
I'm probably like 40, 50 hours of Ancient Aliens when my wife's out of town. That's
yeah, exactly. No,
that's basically
this is
what
great.
that-
No, you're right. You're right. I'm in the path with this one. MSS, how about you, buddy?
Oh, you know what I do? And this is the weirdest thing, and I don't know why, but I would be down in the basement. She was gone for a weekend.
Yeah.
I would be down in the basement organizing stuff. And I would be like, going through my bobbleheads and like writing down stuff and like getting, quantities and like trying to like, I'll get this ready to sell someday, like kind of deal. Like that seems to be my thing. Like I feel right when we get done with Sox season, I like to spend like a whole Saturday in the basement just doing bullshit, only coming up for meals.
I believe you're spending the whole Saturday in the basement. I think it's with the Topanga topless.
Only 3 minutes of that. Tracy. Only 3 minutes.
Can't jerk off that long.
That's right.
I mean, you need some refractory period here, okay?
Exactly.
Plus,
we're in our mid-40s, Treasy. Take it easy. You're not rubbing out 8 of them in a day, all right?
I figured he just passed out afterwards, and then he's, when he wakes up.
Say they leave Friday morning, okay? You get that taken care of on Friday, you got all day Saturday to organize, bro. You don't even have to worry about it.
That's right. You're all lined up. Rule number 3. Rule number 3, it's the most important rule of all, okay, of all these. The house should be in significantly better shape when she gets home than when she left. You should make that motherfucker sparkle to the best of your capabilities, okay? Don't stretch it so far where you're going to screw something up, but do all the things that you know how to do well and get them lined up so that when she comes home from vacation, the place is nicer than when she left. And this is just a general good rule for vacation. I recommend this. Anyone went on vacation the night before, fucking clean your house. Because when you come home tired from vacation, there's nothing better than walking in and like, I don't have to lift a fucking finger. I'm just going to go lay on the couch and eat an original chicken sandwich from Burger King. That's what do you guys think? Good rule?
Well, the only thing I didn't agree with there was you said you're going to eat an original chicken sandwich. You're going to eat 4 original chicken sandwiches. You liar.
Whatever the quantity doesn't matter. You guys like this rule or what? You agree with this or no?
I do.
2 fries, because then they'll think there's 2 people. 4 chicken sandwiches and 2 fries, just so they can think that there's 2 people.
Then it's 2 people.
I typically follow this rule.
Okay.
Unless it's a White Sox weekend. Then I'm just trying to be alive when she gets back.
Fair enough.
If it's a Sox weekend though, you're not even home for the most part, so you can't even really dirty the house.
Correct.
I mean, that's my half my reason for staying in downstairs in the basement. It's just like, hey, I can't fuck anything on the main floor. I'll put some shit away if I fucking fuck it up, and then that's it. Yes.
The slight discrepancy here is though, like, yeah, I'm not home much during that weekend, but Friday and Saturday night, me attempting to feed myself is a disaster. It's no matter what. It's like you know what? I'm not gonna try and cook anything. I've just grabbed this bag of chips and I will eat it all over the couch. Let's just get these chips everywhere possible. There's chips on the ceiling, chips behind the television. Like I don't know how it happens.
You need a pet, Trees, to help clean up afterwards.
Exactly.
Celeste Pappy says, love number 3. And if you can be in the middle of doing a chore when she arrives so she can see you cleaning, that would be best.
That's great.
I agree. That's you really got to sell it. I agree. That comment right there.
I just made dinner and and I was putting away all the silverware that I washed this afternoon. Yes. One thing, Loaf. One thing you shouldn't do. You should not also do. Don't change the sheets when she's out of town. Don't change your bedroom sheets.
I didn't.
Never do that.
No.
Because that could lead to some questions, and they'll be like, "Why do we have new sheets on the bed?" And you're like,
And where
maybe you shit yourself.
I'm
Maybe
not
you
a
had
questionable
visitor.
motherfucker anyway, but yes, no, I wouldn't. That's too much effort. Like I'm
just saying.
giving the amount of effort that it looks good, but I'm not really putting a lot of work into it. That's what you
I'm
got to do.
saying CYA. Like, just dirty sheets. Just leave them on there.
My guy Taco Gladiator says the Wendy's order was epic. Yeah, it's funny. Bonita, when she was leaving, or before I left in the morning, she said, "Dad, don't order any weird food stuff, okay?" And then I ordered that and I tweeted it out, and she saw the tweet and she sent it to me. She said, "What did I tell you? Like, don't order any of this weird stuff." So Wendy's is great.
Nice.
Got a drink from Jerry. Jerry, cheers. He says, "Cheers, boys. I'm back from a Pacific Northwest trip of 108ing with the wife for our anniversary. Looking forward to more 108ing tonight." Hey,
That's
congrats
awesome.
on your anniversary.
Yeah, congrats, Jerry.
Congratulations.
Fuck yeah, man. I saw you guys out there having a little fun. That's nice.
And Jerry's going to get
These
himself
are going
a
off
nice
smooth.
reversible mesh jersey because he bought a fucking Mazda.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
He's
I
the
love
man.
it.
Jerry's the man. I love Jerry.
till next summer. So, yeah. Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Chorizo, how about you? What are you
How
up
you
to,
doing?
baby?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So you know me. I like to. I scour the internet for shit, and I try and find some interesting things to get into. And so, like, the one thing that I've been seeing on Twitter that people are like all going all crazy about is like there's some new country song out. Now, I'm usually not on top of what country music is coming out, as you guys know. But like, there's like some song out. It's this Jason Aldean
is it
video,
Hootie?
and people are like upset about this and shit. So I was like, I gotta check this out. And so I'm watching the video, and it's, I mean, to me, it's kind of like just kind of typical country music stuff, right? Big cities are bad, small towns are great, broke dick trucks, whatever, right? And so, but like, you know, there's some, the video's fucking out there. His band, by the way, his band looks like a Creed cover band, which is hilarious.
What could be better?
But so
it's
I'm watching
cool
it, and
again.
like I'm like halfway through, and there's like all this like, you know, like videos of people like burning flags and shit, and I'm like, you know what this is? This guy's trying to do a diss track, right? He's trying to do a diss track.
yeah,
So I'm like watching, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Solid attempt at a diss track. All right. But then I start seeing on the internet all these other artists are going at him, and they're like going to the media. This is an irresponsible song, an irresponsible video, blah blah blah, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? You're fucking musicians. He wrote a diss track. You write back a diss track.
Yes.
What are you doing? What are you, Tipper Gore now? Take this off the airwaves? You give a fucking diss track.
The diss
what
track
is
is
happening?
that's a tradition as old as time, Teresa.
Dude.
Diss track.
Fucking Neil Young was writing diss tracks in 1970s with against Leonard Skinner.
Yeah,
Right?
yep,
They're going
yep.
back and forth. It's like, dude, if it's 50 years of that. Right? Think about the 90s, man. Think about our guy Eric Wright back in the day.
Eric Wright.
going-
Rest in peace, brother.
R.I.P.
He's
in
right
peace.
back.
Way to use a government
Right
name.
there.
Imagine him going to like the source and
He's
being
so
like,
mad.
"Can you believe that Dre shot me in his video?" No, man. You write some shit back at him, man.
That's
So,
the
like,
all time. That's the all time for me diss track. Because not only does he diss him and everything, but he also talks about how you're still making money for me. Like I own you and I'm dissing you. Like the real motherfucking G's is the all time diss track.
And that's what I wanted to ask you guys. Some of your favorite diss tracks of all time. MSS. What's a great diss track that's on your list?
My original favorite diss track is No Vaseline. I mean, it's just the best one, and because it's Ice Cube when he first come out on his own and just annihilates everybody in NWA. And I'm going to read something from there, which the one I like the most. Oh shit, I fucked up because I went to that stupid song that you guys had. You were talking about. No,
Yeah, the comments
I
already
like-
nailed one of the best ones.
I like the one. Yeah,
No
No,
Vaseline,
Vaseline,
baloney,
100%. Because you're getting fucked out your green by a white boy with no Vaseline. And he's talking about Jerry Heller because he was the first guy that was like, listen, Jerry Heller's stealing all your money. Get the fuck out. We need to get the fuck out of here and do something else. They're like, fuck you, Cube. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, go make a fucking movie. And he's like, I will. And I'll be very much better for it, you know? And then he's like, I'll start my own 3-on-3 basketball tournament that nobody cares about. But I'm going to do it. You know,
Oh, I
fuck
like
you.
the big three.
Well, I mean, Dre Day talks about that too, man. Because
Dude,
Jerry Heller and Easy Mr. Rourke and Tattoo. Like, yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, he comes in and shoots him in, like, the beginning of the video.
That's right. Sleazy E. It's like, and the video is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
For you.
Like,
Sleazy E.
That's right. Sammy Davis in the comments says, hit him up in the takeover. Yeah, I love the takeover. Now, Treasy, you were up on me on the takeover, huh?
So I think Ether's a better track. I like the Ether better.
Okay.
Hit 'em up is a wild track. So the crazy thing about Hit 'em up, is like is that it's like, I forgot, it's like a 5 or 6 minute song, and there's like 4 minutes of song, and then like a minute and a half of Tupac just yelling at the end. There's like not even the backing track anymore. He's just like screaming. You know which one I like? This is one of those ones where I'm not even sure who ended up on top in this battle, but it's DJ Quick and MC8. And you remember MC8?
No.
Yeah, but I don't remember the song.
So Dollars and Cents was the song, and there's a line in it where DJ Quick says to MC8, who's EIHT is how he spells it, and he says you left out the G because the G ain't in you. And I was like, that's a great line, man, for dissing MC8.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's no question about it. Another one I really love is 50 Cent's Back Down, where he's dissing on Ja Rule. 50 Cent has quite a few where he, like, that first album, Get Rich or Die Trying, has a bunch of, like, hating on everyone that aren't even fully diss tracks. It's like a verse here or there. But Back Down, where he's really killing Ja Rule, and that is hilarious. A hilarious track.
It's weird now, but
I do love that record.
Back then, it made sense, but it's weird now to be like, yeah, there's Ja Rule diss tracks. Yeah. Like, you need
those? Ja Rule, right?
Who's 50 Cent?
They could have said nothing.
Motherfucker.
They could have said nothing. It would have went on to consciousness. No,
that
50
fat
Cent
guy that was hanging upside down
at
the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man, don't make fun of Fat Fitty, man. That's my job, all right?
I know, that's your thing.
I loved Fitty, and then he got all fat. I'm like, man, what happened to this dude?
Just more to love.
That's right.
Good non-rap diss track. I'll Stick Around by Foo Fighters. That is all about Courtney Love, and it is.
Is it?
It's
I did
fairly
not
brutal
know that.
when you listen back to it, knowing that it's about Courtney Love. You're like, holy shit, that's not great.
But I gotta re-listen.
I believe he wrote it. That's a first album, right? Like, so they're still.
Yep.
I mean, at that point, they're still fighting over royalties and shit. So
God damn,
it's probably lent to it. I got a drink here from Southside Bum. What's up, Johnny?
Southside Bum. What's up, baby? Thank you.
I also sent you those two Guns N' Roses tracks this morning. The
Get
in the Ring,
so Get in the Ring is
Bob Guccione.
Yeah, it's Bob Guccione. Yeah,
that's because he owns Spin, and he talks some shit about him. So he's like, "What are you so mad that your dad gets more pussy than you? I'm gonna fuck you up. Let's get in the ring." And it's like, Axl, I don't think
I would like to see Axl fight though. I would like to see Axl fight. I think that would be pretty fun.
You know. And then you have the Right Next Door to Hell. There ain't nothing to get people excited more than this, like, having a fight with your neighbor about your ultra rich properties. Like, hey, quit playing your music so loud. Yeah, okay, I'll shut it down.
So here's an initial take. Kelly has her 5-year-old watching. An initial take on the host. Treasy, I don't know, Beef Loaf out of his mind. My sex, I'm a gentleman.
Yeah.
Wow, yes. You're a gentleman? Ooh, yes. This is news.
The kids love me. Kids and animals love me.
I don't know is the general reaction for most people about me. I don't know about this guy.
Speaking of animals, Santa Claus.
Speaking of animals loving you, my sex summer, guess what?
Yeah.
I saw Tony walk in the dog. The dog that was in your house. I saw it. Like, I don't know him that well, so I kind of just saw him from a distance. I was like, that's that awesome dog, man. Yeah, man. That's he's got a beautiful
You say
dog.
What's up to Hazel? You should have been like,
I did not. We're not
then the dog bit Beef.
HBIC is correct. Fiddy has the best first pitch in history. The gif of Vlad hitting it is the best thing ever.
That's an all-time gif. You see the 50 Cent pitch, and then Vlad Guerrero's like standing over there, and he just clocks it for a double.
Gone. Good stuff.
I'm assessed, man. Do you want to pay some bills?
Let's do it. As we embrace the warmth and joy of summer, don't forget to prioritize routine Mazda maintenance. By taking the time to perform essential summer maintenance tasks, you can ensure a safe and smooth journey to your destinations. At Mazda of Orland Park, their dedicated service center is here to assist you in keeping your vehicle in optimal condition. Schedule your summer maintenance appointment with them today and enjoy a worry-free summer on the road. Summer's ever-changing temperatures can lead to tire pressure fluctuations and an increased risk of flat tires. Regularly checking your tire pressure is crucial to avoid inconvenient roadside tire changes. Skilled technicians at the Mazda Service Center can inspect your tires, ensuring they are properly inflated. This minimizes the chance of flat tires while optimizing handling and fuel efficiency. Their exceptional service department is dedicated to addressing all of your vehicle needs, ranging from repairs to routine maintenance appointments. Head on over to www.mazdarolandpark.com to explore their exclusive service specials today. You can drop by Mazda of Orland Park at your convenience or schedule service appointments online. Their skilled mechanics are committed to ensuring a swift and satisfactory experience, leaving you with a smile as you drive away. Whether you're from the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana, or Southeast Wisconsin, they would love to have you visit and test drive a Mazda today. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Nation, 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park, 708-444-3200. Zoom.
All right. Guys, I think it's time for some White Sox talk. And if we're going to do some White Sox talk, maybe we bring in a guest here.
Let's do it.
Add him to the stream here. And you've seen him here. You've seen him on the Au in Section 108. And, of course, on the White Sox Twitter streets. He's one of our favorite baseball minds, and he's here tonight to talk about the trade deadline, White Sox baseball in general, and possibly at the Eiffel Tower. Welcome to the show, Alex Rue. How are you?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Doing awesome, man. Good to see you.
Oh, what the hell? Oh.
Okay. Did you break it? Don't break it.
No. Click box.
Froze him up.
There was a click box that you just clicked that turned off the loop. Now it's a little icon.
I know.
That's probably why your stream sucked last week, because they were installing these icons. And I'm sorry to interrupt your intro, Adam. I'm very sorry.
What a dick.
So how you been, my friend? Feeling good tonight?
Good. Yeah, it was my birthday on Tuesday. Just been chilling with the family most of the week. But other than that, everything is just same old, same old.
Awesome, man. Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
You know what do you guys say we just jump right into this shit? All right, we're gonna talk trade deadline tonight. There's a lot of people to talk about. We'll see how many of these come to fruition. But I think the guy that is on everybody's mind when it comes to a trade is Lucas Giolito. So Lucas Giolito is probably the most tradable White Sox if you're thinking about it. He's a good starting pitcher. There's plenty of suitors out there for starting pitching. You know, there's a lot of teams that could use it. Are there a lot of teams that are going to pay for it? How many other guys are out there? These are all questions we're going to get into. But Alex, we're going to start talking with you about this. What do you think the market looks like for a Lucas Giolito?
I think you hit it on the nail. It's going to be a more of who would be willing to pay the price more than who needs a starting pitcher. With the extended playoffs of the new CBA, there's a lot more teams in it than ever before. So there's not going to be a lot of clarity on who's going to buy or sell until like the deadline, unless you're like the Sox, A's, or the Royals. But luckily for them, for the Sox, it is a seller's market with the lack of clarity. So they could get a higher return for Giolito than you would have thought. The only contending team, and I say air quotes, I use the air quotes because they still suck, that seems to be set with the rotation is the Twins. But other than that, almost every other playoff team could use a starting pitcher like Giolito.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the obvious ones that you know people are going to throw out there at Giolito are, you know, the Orioles. I mean, like the Orioles could replace their whole staff before the playoffs,
Right?
And then the Dodgers, because the Dodgers have just had so many injuries that they're throwing out the Michael
The
Groves
hometown fit, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I think those are at the top, but like, are there any other teams that you're looking at that you're going like, this is the right fit for Giolito, or are you looking at any teams going, this is the team I want some guys from?
I think wanting some guys from is probably going to be the Dodgers just because how good their farm system is. But a team that could you really use them and might be willing to go over the top on their spending since their success was so unexpected would be like the Reds, because there's a lot in that Red system too that's still up and coming. I think if I'm the Sox, I'm going to try at least get one MLB ready player and one or two lotto tickets for Giolito and something like that for Lynn, because I think looking at the Josh Bell trade for the Pirates, obviously you'll get much better prospects, but they got one MLB ready pitcher, one 19-year-old prospect. I think that's a good format to go after, and having basically the best starter on the market, because the Padres are going to somehow buy being 10 games out. that eliminates Blake Snell from the pool. So it's literally just take your pick of the Chicago pitcher between Stroman and Giolito for the best starter on the market.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. Is what are the Padres going to do? And we could bring it up here in the NL. I mean, the Padres they're 6.5 back just of the wild card right now, and have to jump a couple teams. Cincinnati being one of them. But if Cincinnati is not in the wild card hunt, then the Brewers are, right? Like, so it's interesting that you'd look at that from a San Diego standpoint. Now they've invested a lot of money in this team, but if they are not selling, this really opens things up because Snell, Beef, we were talking about this the other night on the playback. Yep. Snell is a guy that, like, I think every team could use in this playoff because he's a guy that you would start in game 1 or 2, right?
Yeah, he's a guy we feel like would be a little bit ahead of Giolito in the pecking order of, like, if you have a playoff game, I'd rather have him out there than Giolito necessarily. It's close, but just kind of a little bit ahead, so maybe a little bit more trade value in it, and scooping him out of there. You're right. It creates a vacuum and allows our guy to slide in there and just become so much more valuable.
The Angels actually winning some games helps too, because now you're taking the possibility of the Ohtani trade out of there.
And it's another buyer.
If you've exactly. If you've wiped those two out, and then you kind of look at it and, like, the guys that are in the same range as Giolito, it narrows down to guys like Jordan Montgomery, right? Yeah. And there's maybe one or two other guys floating that teams could possibly trade, and then there's the guys that are like at like the 100 ERA plus, where you're like, is this a guy or is this I mean, to put that in some perspective, like Reynaldo Lopez is hanging at like a 90 ERA plus, right? I mean, this is not the best pitchers in the league. This is not a guy that you're going to go, when I go into the playoffs, I'm putting this guy in one of the first 2 games, right? Yeah, exactly. So you become you start looking at those guys like, this guy's going to eat innings for me down the stretch. I guess a guy like that, though, and I'll ask you guys what you think about his trade value. You alluded to it earlier, Alex, is like a Lance Lynn. Like, where do you see Lance Lynn possibly going?
I think Lance Lynn could probably be better used as like a mid-rotation innings eater for a team trying to fight for the playoffs. He makes a lot more sense for like the Orioles, because they just need pitchers up and down the rotation, because you're not going to send out Dean Kramer or Kyle Gibson for like a game 3 or 4 of the playoff start. But I think the return or all of Lynn's trade value just depends on whether the Sox will eat any of the remaining money on his deal, because basically if they do, you're just buying a better prospect. But if they cheap out, you're just limiting the return because the salary is so annoyingly high.
Yeah, this is what scares me about this deadline, Alex, because the White Sox could play the entire deadline of all salary relief. Yeah, we'll just chop the final third of everyone's salary off, and we'll take whatever else we get back with it, and we get the cash savings. Because we've heard through various sources they're bleeding cash over there because they haven't been taking in enough, and you can see it in the attendance. The attendance is down, the biggest in the majors. So you kind of get it, even though I tend to not believe private companies when they try to tell me they're losing money. That's generally a bad idea, but like you can kind of see the narrative building up for them. Just like, we'll just get salary relief everywhere.
Well, I feel like Lynn's a guy. If you just wanted the team to eat the salary, there's teams that would do it. And Beef, you brought up an interesting point the other day, and I'll bat it around the room to see what you guys think about this. Could a team take on that salary? Like, say, I'm not really going to give you anything. I'll take on the salary and like roll the dice on. What if Lance Lynn just continues to be as good as he has been since he was terrible at the beginning? And is that worth $18 million to my team next year? Maybe it is. Alex, MSS, what do you think? Is this like, do you see a team that would be like, yeah, I think I would pick up Lance Lynn's option if he pitches as well as he has for the last month?
I think that's Lynn's main appeal, how much better he's been the past month. It shows a lot more upside than a lot of guys on the market if he can keep pitching like that. If you get that for $18 million next year, that's a bargain for most teams, except maybe like the Rays.
Yeah, and he is like, he's shown himself to be dependable enough that like he shows up and pitches. Like he has as many wins as like Dylan Cease right now, or maybe even has one more win than Dylan Cease right now, right? Is it 5-5 or 5-4? I mean, that's ridiculous. Here's your ace coming into the season, and then you have big chubby Lance Lynn is outperforming him, and that's scary. Right. So like he's doing it the right way. Maybe he does want to get out of here, and maybe he's like, hey, I'm going to pitch my ass off. Or he's just doing what most guys do that suffer from, overweightness and oldness. You pop ibuprofens and you go out there and you fucking earn your fucking check, because that's what he's been doing. So I love that he's in the conversation to get traded. He should go. It should be like a Jim Thome situation. Give him to a team that's a contender, or get him somewhere so he can have a chance to win, because he doesn't got too many more in the tank, as far as I'm concerned. So, like, let's get him somewhere where he can do something. And I'm going to make a really gaff mistake here, but the team option only goes with the Sox, right? You can't go to the next team.
No, they get it.
That contract
carries over.
Okay,
they
so
get it.
So
the next team could get the benefit. So, like, if that other team takes him, let's say, like Alex was saying, Baltimore just needs arms. They just need innings there, right? He goes there, and he's absolutely fine. They may pick up the $18 million, because $18 million for 150 dependable. Like you're saying, MSS dependable. Yeah. He's dependable. He'll give you 150, 140 innings or whatever. He might have a little achy knee here or there, but he's going to mostly fill out all the starts. Yeah, that's valuable.
The other thing
with
the Orioles,
too, right?
And
like a good vet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teach these kids something.
Alex, I like the call on. They don't have strikeout guys. Like he provides strikeouts that they just are sorely in need of, which like at the beginning of the year, to be describing Lance Lynn as this guy's just like throwing strikeouts is surprising, but that is the case right now. And like it could be a case where he fetches something from one of these teams, because they just need a dependable arm that can throw strikes. And
Lance Lynn in orange come October. Ooh.
Yes.
Just beautiful.
Chubby guys look great in orange.
The big pumpkins.
Look at Brett Bielema.
We got big pumpkin.
Exactly.
Big bastard to the big pumpkin. I love it.
So staying on the pitching, but diving into like the relief squad, I have to ask, like, who of the relievers do you think is going to be the first to go? And I'll pop up this graphic here of like this is all the pitchers, but you're looking at some of the higher ERA plus guys here, and you've got like Santos, Middleton, Graveman all up at the top. Those are the three best pitchers in terms of ERA plus for the White season. Who do you think is going to go first, Alex?
First of all, I think it's just weird to talk about Rick Hahn trading away relievers, because we know he loves relievers like Jordan Miller loves threesomes. But I think whoever goes first, whoever goes first, I think it's just whoever they can get anything of value for first. I don't think there's too much meaning to whoever goes first. Since I think they'll end up trading whoever they can out of that bullpen, except for Liam. But gun to my head, I'll probably have to take a guess at who goes first. I'll probably go with Grave Maga, since he has experience being traded at the deadline, going on a postseason run like he did in 21 for the Astros.
Oh my God.
But
it could literally be anybody in that bullpen.
Where do you think he would go? Where does his terrible haircut end up?
Jesus.
Are we sending them back to Seattle? What's
Are
that?
they mine? Is Seattle going to buy? We could.
I mean, Seattle's going to
I
buy
don't know.
and sell.
Seattle's pretty
There's-
far out. Like here's the AL right now. They're 5.5 out of the wild card, and they're further than that back. I guess they're about 5.5 back too for the division, right? Is it? Or no, that's looking like more
I
like
don't
8.
know.
I mean, DePoto's going to make moves. We just don't know what they're going to be.
The thing about the Mariners' record, it was pretty misleading. Back before the Sox played the Mariners, I was looking at their splits. They're like 9-0 versus the A's, and then suck versus like everybody else. So
They're 9.5 games out.
The A's can have that
Okay,
effect
okay.
on teams. So yeah.
except for the Sox.
I mean, but
We'll see.
like, is there a concern with trading like a Kendall Graveman to what Beef was talking about earlier, where it's like we're not actually going to get anything back. We're just dumping that salary because it's 8 next year too, right?
That's correct, and it's straight up 8. There's no option, no anything. He's guaranteed 8 in 2024.
Yeah. I mean, with trading relievers, just getting anything of value is a win. Like last year, the Cubs traded David Robertson to the Phillies and got one of the Phillies' best pitching prospects. So I think the demand's going to determine whether to get anything of value. And I was listening to Robert Murray's podcast earlier, and he was like, every contending team's going to add to their bullpen, so the demand will be there. And the White Sox will have relievers to get rid of. So see whatever you can get.
Yeah, I agree with Alex about the depth of the market for relievers. It feels like if you want to trade a reliever, you can trade a reliever in these marketplaces because teams can. I mean, you think about it too. The roster construction's treasy. A lot of teams are going to have 8 relievers, and they're going to even have 8 relievers when they play in that stupid best out of 3 series too. But they just have so many pitchers on the roster. And like most of what people are rolling out, they got 3-4 guys at the end that aren't that great, right? And they're just kind of like mixing and matching or bringing guys up. So it seems like the contenders tend to have a lot of ability. And you're right, Alex is right. They'll flip random things that they think, well, you like this? Okay, fine. We're trying to get this thing right now. So it's weird how healthy the reliever market is and how unhealthy it feels like the starting pitching market is. Like, a guy who's going to give you 12, 13 starts, I don't care that much. This guy who's going to give me 14 innings, I'll give you a good prospect for him. It's bizarre.
What's interesting too is that the Padres are helping us out again in this scenario because they would be putting Josh Hader out into this market if they were trading, or if they were selling, I should say. But if they're buying, then he goes away, and it just opens up the market again. I think a guy that I'm interested to see what happens with him is Keenan Middleton. Because he's been very good. He's on a 1-year contract, so it is a total rental situation. No one's got to worry about what it's going to be next year. But he's been pitching well in high leverage. He's just a guy that you can seemingly depend on, which is worth something. It's interesting to wonder though what a guy like that is going to fetch because he's not really a name. He's not really got the a lot of years behind him. It's just this kind of half year that's been really good.
Swag. He's got swag behind him.
Well,
He's
actually,
got a lot of cologne.
Teresi, I agree with you. I
Loves-
actually think he's gonna go first. And the reason why I think he's gonna go first, 2 ideas. One is the first one you brought up. He's not getting paid hardly anything, so it's easy to flip him. The team does not take on any money basically with him. He's making $750,000 this year, so think a third of that is what the team has to take on. It's almost nothing. Secondly, as a reliever, he presents differently than a lot of the relievers. A lot of relievers are a lot of velocity and that killer slider, right? Middleton leans on his changeup a lot. He throws a changeup over 40% of the time. He's a little different. It's like, remember the old days when Buck Showalter had the Baltimore bullpen where they had all the different kinds of guys? They had the side armors and all this shit, right? So, like, he adds a dimension to a team that is just has a lot of those hard-throwing, like, slider guys. He brings a changeup. So, I think he might be the first one to go for those reasons. Easy to move, and he's easy to fit into a bullpen. And maybe he's not your 8th-inning guy, but maybe he's pitching the 6th and 7th in leverage situations in a playoff game.
You need that.
You need him. Yeah, that's right.
You need that guy.
So speaking of a guy that's not making a lot of money, I want to ask you guys about this guy because there's a ton of control on this young man. But when I showed that graphic earlier, he is right at the damn top. He has been tremendous. Gregory Santos is taking the ball a lot for the White Sox. He's doing very well. He's 23. He makes league minimum. I think he's ARB eligible when I'm like 75 years old. So like, I mean, like, there's a lot of reasons to be like, I'm very positive about this guy right now. But is this maybe the perfect time to trade a guy like that? Alex, what do you think?
Beef, you remember our discussion on our First Saw Jew episode, talking about why Jimmy Lambert would have any value as a trade piece? Same reasoning.
Same ideas here.
Santos is a lot better. He's under keep control for years, so his value is probably as high as it can get. If you look back for proof of concept, you look at last year's deadline when the Cubs got Hayden Wesneski, who was like a top 5-6 prospect in the Yankees system, and like a number 4 or 5 starter that they've been using. Just for Scott Efros, who came on the scene similar to Santos, first year rookie reliever, and he got that nice of a return. If you can get anything close to that, you got to pull the trigger, especially with the need for like a starting pitcher. If you can get like some and back end of the rotation pitcher from a team out there, they got Santos basically for free in the off season. So turning him into anything in return is a major win.
Beef, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with Alex, and I think with the state of relievers, if you can get yourself a decent return, you do it in this situation. And I actually think Gregory Santos might have the highest trade value of any White Sox right now. I think a lot of people aren't thinking about him because they see the control and they're like, well, he's just going to be here for a while. But a cautionary tale in this situation could be Aaron Bummer. Aaron Bummer was excellent in 2019, and then the White Sox signed him to the extension. Now, since then, he's been up and down. He's had some really good years. He's had some rougher years or whatever. But it makes you realize the volatility in having a reliever and kind of signing a reliever long term, especially one that's not like the big blaring save monster at the end, you know. And Santos could actually become that. I was looking up Stuff Plus, which is something I'm newly getting into, but it grades pitches, you know, and so out of pitchers that have thrown at least 20 innings this year via Stuff Plus, Gregory Santos has the 7th best slider in Major League Baseball. I mean, the guys in and around him are like Emmanuel Clase, Ryan Presley, you know, like guys that you've heard of, Jordan Hicks, like guys that have like crazy stuff. He's a crazy stuff guy when it comes to the slider. So I would, as much as I love watching Gregory Santos go out there and feel great when he comes into the game and think he's going to get outs, I would be, if you're serious about this, I would consider trading him if you get the right deal.
Serious about what though? You're still going to need somebody, you know, at like next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be something that is going to weigh heavily on a Rick Hahn. He's like, hey, there's a lot of value here, you know, and he's going to keep that value because he doesn't like to give away value. You know, I think I just don't see a Rick Hahn trading away. And I think Alex said it correctly when he came out. He's like, just talking about trading relievers probably makes him shake because he loves relievers so much and needs to have them. Even when they're broken, he still likes to keep them around. They're like, listen, this is junk. Let's get rid of it. And he's like, no. It's still good. It's still good. Let's keep it around.
MSS, you bring up a good point because if we're looking at this in a vacuum, I think what Alex and Beef are saying is 100% correct, right? Like you definitely, this is going to be the highest value this guy ever is. Relievers are fickle, right? Like they could go 1 year and be terrible the next. I mean, think Cliff Polite, but like I think you hit the nail on the head though. Is like I think the early parts of Rick Hahn's trading career have made him gun shy later in his career. And like, that's why you end up seeing him sitting on his hands last year or sitting on his hands in 2020. The risk of in MSS, you talk about this a lot, like the love of the unknown, right? Like, all the potential that could be here. Yes. You know, you see that a lot, and especially when it's you know, there's got to be some sense of pride of like, I found this guy. I was right about this.
Yes.
Like, you know, and like there's got to be a part of you that says like, I could do this again. So why not trade this guy?
Yeah.
Right.
But you don't.
He's his good luck charm.
I don't know that you see that enough to make you confident that he will move on this if possible. But I'd like to see it. I think that's where I think as a whole, I think the four of us, and MSS, I'm going to include you, would like to see him do that and get a good return. I think you're skeptical of his ability to do that more so than anything.
That too. I mean, that's another thing. Like, you're like, okay, well, we can get some trade value. This guy has evaluated the talent and has placed this team in the position that they're in, the players that we have now. Do you trust this guy? Do you trust this organization, to evaluate the talent that you're getting back for your best prospects? Or do you just keep something that's actually good and to say, we'll keep the good stuff that we know is the good stuff?
Like Aaron Bummer. We kept the good stuff we knew was good stuff from MSS. It's a cautionary tale. But you do bring up an interesting point about how he might be gun shy. Because in 2016, we had Tommy Kahnle, and they dealt him. They dealt him with Todd Frazier. Maybe that was 17. I forget what year they actually traded them. And they didn't get anything for him. They got Blake Rutherford. They sent a bunch of stuff, and Kahnle was in a similar position to Santos, where he was having a dynamite year. He had a lot of control. And Kahnle ended up getting hurt, and so a lot of things have happened to Tommy Kahnle since then, and he hasn't really done a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of risk with relievers, so it's a spot for sure. Alex, what you thinking?
I feel like you gotta sell now because, like you guys have mentioned, relievers are fickle, and not even taking into account injury risk. Relievers are so up and down. Santos could be complete shit next year, and basically, we could be 1 year from now talking about how they need the DFA. It's just right. If you can get anything back, if you've done this twice already, just this offseason, finding guys off the scrap heap like Santos and Middleton, if you can get anything back, take it and then do it again next offseason and find other guys that you can turn into solid relievers because Cleveland does it. Everybody does it. It's like relievers are easy to find, and you just find one thing and you got a solid reliever.
Yeah,
so
and how you use them,
though. It's weird.
And how you use them too, right? Mm-hmm. Like you think about if we were going into this season, let's go back, 5 months ago, and we're going into this season, and we're sitting here going, the Sox are going to suck, and in the middle of the season, we're going to need to dump everything. I think the guy that we would all be saying, who we should trade is probably Reynaldo Lopez. This guy's been very good. Mm-hmm. He's probably our de facto closer, and that's the problem, but he's probably good, right? Yeah. And he's not. He's been bad. He's been used poorly. Maybe some, a lot's on him, right? He got put in high leverage situations, he couldn't handle it. But you see what he is this year, and it's if you traded him after last season, you probably could have got something for him. Right? You probably could have got something for him in the offseason. Now we're looking at this, and we're not even mentioning him.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned him to drag him, but that's in a
non-pleasant way.
It's a good way to do it sometimes, though.
But speaking of dragging guys, I think we need to get into the wacky shit right now. So, I've held this group of players for last because I think there's a lot of weird stuff that we can think up here, and that is the position players.
Oh, just position players. Okay.
So, Alex, what out of the position players is movable at this trade deadline?
I think movable, any expiring deals, I guess Grandal, you see if there's anything out there. I think the real question are going to be two guys in Jake Berger and Tim Anderson, whether you trade. Berger's interesting to see what they do with him because they made it pretty clear in the spring that they aren't the biggest believers in him when he started in Charlotte. The question now is, after this year, has the production changed their mind? If it has, I think you got to keep him. If not, it's another situation. If his value probably won't get any higher, why not move him now? And then Tim Anderson, he's been better since the All-Star break, but overall the past year he's been pretty bad overall. In trading him, looking at the free agent market, that would just create a black hole for 2024. So if you want to compete in 24, how can you trade him and expect to do anything?
Yeah, especially when you've had the middle infielders that you had that were supposed to be your prospects, and none of them have panned out so far. Or none of them have shown enough that you would even displace Elvis Andrus, other than Zach Remillard, our hero, Zach Remillard.
Yeah.
That's true, Tracy. Everyone's looking over the Lenin Sosas and Jose Rodriguez of the world and say, "Where's Colson Montgomery at? How far away is he?" Like they've already moved those guys out of the way. It's like, give me that tall guy.
100%, 100%. But you brought up Yasmani Grandal, and Grandal seems like a movable piece, which is funny because I'm not sitting here going like, you know who's a great player at this point in their career? Yasmani Grandal. But I am at this point looking around the league and going, there's a lot of horrible second catchers. So, Alex, if you're scanning the league, give me a team or two that you think that like Yasmani Grandal could land with and could be a fit.
I could give you 5. Actually, I was looking at FanGraphs earlier. I was just looking
Top
at the
5. Give me it.
The WRC plus of certain contenders that have gotten out of their catcher position thus far. We'll go in order. Tampa Bay, 78. Arizona, 77. Cincinnati, 75. Houston, 72. And then Miami, 55. So,
Kimming, come on down.
So, Alex, you brought up Miami, and this was interesting to me. And Beef, I don't know if you've looked at this, or sure you have, but I'm not. I'm just gonna tell it anyways. I was looking at Jacob Stallings because Jacob Stallings was a guy I was on a couple years ago. Like the Sox should trade for this guy because he is a really good defensive catcher. He can't hit. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
His defensive metrics have sunk since he's been in Miami, and like it's rough. Like what are you using this guy for if he can't hit and he's not good on defense anymore?
Do you guys think that Yasmani Grandal as an elite framer is still getting trotted out there? Like there's like, hey, or has the rest of the league caught up? Like, can we still tout that as a skill? Like we were sold, we're like, hey, he's an elite framer. That's why we need him. And like, do you think you can still put it out there? Because it looks like a lot of people have caught up to the frameness out there.
I think what you're selling right now is exactly what Alex was saying. Is that Grandal's bat, although feeling a little disappointing for the White Sox because of how much you're expecting out of him, is very good for, especially for a backup catcher, but even for most teams' primary catchers. Mm-hmm. That's a good hitter. Now the defense is really dragging. I looked it up this morning on the Fielding Bible, the defensive run saves, and Yaz is last on a catcher defense there. I mean, so like the defense is downhill, and we kind of all know we're at the point where we know that. But if you're a team that is desperate to get anything out of that spot, you can find ways to get him in the lineup. And he's got coming in today, 94 WRC plus. That's so much better than what these teams are trotting out as their team WRC plus at catcher. So like as the second catcher somewhere, I'm sure someone could use him.
The amount of teams that need it is promising. The things that's not is when we look back at last year and look at the guys that moved. Like Christian Vasquez is maybe the best comparison to Grandal of like this guy was hitting like high 90s WRC plus. It was like 2 players to be named later is what they got, and he made way less than what Yaz is making. So like you really need a bidding war. You need more than one team to want Yasmani Grandal, which is crazy to think, but it is possible.
I mean, cool nickname. Yasmanian Devil. I mean, you got to sell that too. You throw that out there.
The Miami Homecoming.
Yeah, Miami Homecoming's good. Also, I might be crazy, but I would think that like he can rise to the occasion when it comes to the playoffs. Like if you're gonna go into the playoffs, he usually shows up. I remember in 2020, he hit that home run. Yeah. You know, and I'm still remembering that. It's like the only guy that had offense. You know, you're just like awesome. You know, maybe that's what he's saving it up for. Maybe he's still doing that, saving it up to hit a home run in the playoffs sometime.
I may be wrong, but I think that he has the record for catcher's interference in the playoffs. I'm just
what a record to own.
I feel like I read that somewhere. But hey, why wouldn't you want that? But no, I mean like. How much? A good question from Josh. How much money would you be comfortable with the White Sox taking back in a Grandal deal? It depends on the prospects. Like if it's players to be named later, none. Like I don't want to take any of that money, especially because the feeling is we're cutting costs, right?
Right.
Like so, keeping any money on the books means that is money that will never be spent, right? It's like, oh, well, we had to take this, so like now we can't have a right fielder. And not even like we're not going to get a new right fielder. Like they won't even have the position next year. They're going to play with 8.
Yep.
I mean, Jerry's right. This is really the sweet spot. We talked about backup catcher, but also we get DH because Grandal's bat's going to be usable as occasional DH. It's going to be usable in pinch hit spots. So, like as a switch hitter, especially. So he does have some extra utility. That all of that makes it kind of an interesting trade process.
The only problem in Miami is that none of the guys in the normal positions where you'd be like, oh well, we got a guy out there right now who plays a good right field, but we'll move Jorge Soler out there, and then we'll put Grandal at DH. They all are terrible. Like there's just a lot of bad fielding too. So they're really relying on pitching right now. But yeah, I mean, like there's definitely teams where you can see him picking up some DH spots. You could see him becoming a little bit of a platoon with their first baseman, like those types of things. So there's utility in Yasmani Grandal, more so than I think Christian Vasquez. So I think he's worth a little bit more than Vasquez was last year. But the money.
3 players.
The money's a problem.
Three players to be named later, right?
We're gonna
3
sweeten it
now.
up for you.
Before we jump out of this,
They're going to do the Billy Bean too. You got to fill my soda machines for 3 years.
That's right. Get the Sodfather new hose, if you would. Hello. Before we move on to this section, I want to quiz you guys. So I saw Bennett Carroll put this in the comments. He said, "Have we considered this? The White Sox don't sell." I am a little nervous about Rick Hahn with his reticence to actually trade something, like MSS was saying earlier. So I have set the over/under on White Sox players to get traded at this deadline at 3.5.
Yeah.
What do you boys think? Trees, you go first. Over/under 3.5 Sox get traded.
Under. That's an under, because, and I'll give you the reason that I feel that it's going to be an under.
You're already smiling.
Rick Hahn can't multitask. he cannot work on 2 things at once. So there's like, if it takes a long time to trade Lucas Giolito, we're fucked. That's the only guy that's going to move.
How about you, Alex? What do you think?
I think I got to go over, just because there's a lot of guys on expiring deals that, other than Giolito, like there's not any guys you would offer the qualifying offer to. So in their position, at least the players to be named later are better than just letting them walk for free at the end of the year.
That's very hopeful. I like that. MSS, what do you think? Over under 3.5 players.
I'm going to go with the also the under, mostly because I don't think that they're going to do much of anything, and they think their shit's worth a bunch, and it's a slap in the face to them if they don't get something back that's just as good. You know, you're coming off this Rick Hahn can trade and is a masterful tradesman, and then if he's not going to get these master deals anymore, then he's not going to do it. So,
I mean,
yeah,
we gotta have Al, because he's so positive.
he is.
He's the most positive guy on the podcast right now. We're gonna trade like 5 guys.
What do you think, Loaf? Are you going over or under?
I mean, I'm hopeful for over because of the things
Okay.
Alex was saying. Like, we have so much stuff expiring. You would think,
Yeah.
at a minimum, the Sox are real cheap, and they would say, we'll do whatever we can to get this handful of guys off the roster. But I'm leaning under because Rick Hahn just is inactive, man. He's just super inactive. Like, it does take him a long time to get a trade done, like everyone's been saying. And we're running out of days, man. Today is July 20th. And you only have till August 1st to get this all done. So like you would think some stuff has started moving, but the whole league has just been at a glacial pace. There's hardly any move. There was that move yesterday with that ace pitcher that I had never heard of, and then I saw someone show the splits. Like, his season-long stats stink, but his first half was horrendous. His so far, like, his second half of this playing was really good. And okay, there's the trade for the Orioles, but it's a no-name, some random nobody. It's like no one's moving yet.
Beef, you sent me that yesterday, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's any control on this guy, because he seems, he's not young, he's like 29, but I figured they just brought him over,
right.
they paid a posting fee, I'm sure there's some years, and no, it was a 1-year contract, but I looked and he was a 1-year $3.25 million contract. He was the 7th highest paid A. That is insane. I mean, like you look at their like roster, and it's like nobody makes any money. Like it's like I could see them giving away Ramon Laureano because they're like, he's going into his 3rd ARB year. Get out of here.
Right.
We're not going to pay that kind of. We don't have that kind of money. It's like they're going to Vegas. They're spending like they were just in Vegas for a long time.
That's all I got left.
All right.
I also would enjoy this. Yes.
So I did see a comment that I want to pull up. This was Senior Sox. He said that they're going to go under because Han will tell us we will be competitive next year. And that brings me to my next question for you guys. Is if we were going to try and be competitive next year, or even in 2025, like what would you do to try and retool this team? Like what's the first thing that you're doing to kind of make the team a contender again very quickly? Alex, I'll start with you.
First off, like I said last year, start cheating. But in all seriousness, changing the philosophy of how they spend their money. This deadline does allow basically a get out of jail free card with all the reliever monies on the books. This year they have about $43 million to relievers. That number is the 3rd highest in the league and basically equal to the rest of the AL Central, what the AL Central spent on their bullpen combined. That's cool. Yeah. And that's about 25% of the payroll, and just clear out that money and spread it around more wisely. You got 2 building blocks to build around in Cease and Robert. Use the money instead of on bullpen arms that have been underperforming, and spend that money on depth. I think the window does go until Luis Robert hits free agency, and the farm system does seem to be improving at the lower levels with the talent from the last few drafts. Deadline is an opportunity to add depth to that system, and even if they hit on 1 or 2 of the lottery tickets that they hopefully get, that's an accomplishment.
I like it. For the
So
window
fucking
beef,
positive.
I'll bring
Oh
up
my
your graphic.
Yeah, the core, baby. There it is.
It is Robert. Robert's good there for a long time. Benintendi's there forever. Berger's going to be there for a long time. And I think Vaughn Vaughn and Eloy are the next. But Eloy, there's 2 options there, right? Like so that Eloy gets expensive. So health depending, you'll see how long he's around. But 2025 there's a lot of reset going on in 2025. Moncada will be gone. There's no way they're picking up that option.
Right. Yeah,
TA will be gone. Eloy will have his first option year. Lynn and Hendricks will both be gone, although Lynn will probably be gone next year. Next year.
This year.
So and Santos we're trading, so that he's going to be gone too.
That's why I put him on there, so we could denote that he's good enough to be traded to somebody. That's right.
Exactly. Beef, how would you retool this?
As much as it pains me, this roster was due for moving out one of the pieces that is similar to all the other pieces. And if you were asking me this 12 months ago, I would have said to trade Andrew Vaughn, which we did say. We were saying, especially when we were doing the trade blogs and everything, that's only 6-7 months ago, Treasy. But trading Andrew Vaughn made a lot of sense because you had a lot of these first base type guys, Berger being one of them, Sheets being another, that maybe you could get by. And Vaughn had the cachet and the first round pedigree. He no longer has that. He's racing up on 1,500 plate appearances. He's a second division first baseman at best at this point. Not a very tradable guy. I would focus all my energy on trying to find the teams that still really believe in Eloy Jimenez, and I would put him on one of those teams and flip that part out of there. And I love Eloy. I'm a big Eloy fan, but I think you're at the point where you've got to make some sort of substantial impacting move. And on the offensive side, you have redundancies there with that type of player, right? The guy that's kind of a DH player. If you can move him out of there and get I don't know, would the Brewers send you Freddie Peralta for Eloy? I just try to think outside the box of who might send you something fun or interesting. Would the Guardians give you a young pitcher or two for Eloy? They're desperate for a DH, right? That's something that would really move them. And I know they're in your division, but too bad. You got to figure out a way out of this. You're board locked with this group, and you gotta jump out of there. I would spend time trying to figure out if there's a market for Eloy, and then I would go out there and exploit. That'd be the first thing I would absolutely do. And I love Eloy. It's too bad.
No, I like the idea because you look at all the things that are jammed up, right? It's all the DH, first base, Berger pretending to be a third baseman. Like all of that is like jamming things up quite a bit. MSS, what do you think on the retool? What are your thoughts on a retool?
So when this came across, you sent out the agenda and I saw this and I laughed because I'm like, why am I going to invest any of my time into trying to figure out how to retool this mess that we're fucking in, because shit's not going to change. And that, I think that's probably the hardest part and the hardest realization I think a lot of White Sox fans are coming to right now. And I have a prepared statement and I'm going to read it. And I'm going to, because I got to make sure I get all the points in. So I don't think the problem can be retooled. And I think what really needs to change is the mindset of the front office. And what that involves is hiring people that have shown success in the fields that you're going to hire them into, and then allowing them to, and trusting them to do their job. Because I don't think that happens either. We hire good guys. We hire loyal guys. We need people that can do the actual job. I like to see a serious investment in the scouting department and the training facilities. The injuries that we get are not unique in only us, but we seem to have all injury-prone players. There's a problem somewhere here. This needs to change. This should not be happening every fucking year. We aren't providing the keys to succeed for a lot of these players, and that needs to change. We do not develop talent. That needs to change. We had top-tier prospects. We didn't make the prospect rankings, right? The prospect rankings were set by other people that thought that these players could perform. These players have come in and have just shot downhill in most cases, not all cases, but most cases, have shot straight downhill. So some of these guys are succeeding. Luis Robert's succeeding. He's succeeding despite what we were trying to teach him. It's just like I feel like he's there. We don't do a good job at any of this. So retooling to me seems stupid. Like, until we're going to change up how we operate and do things in the front office and everything before we get to the season, there's no reason for us to even try to continue to throw money at this. Let them fucking spin their wheels until we get a change in regiment, and then we can talk about retooling or actually setting ourselves up for success.
Yeah, boy!
What's interesting though, MSS, is like, as much as you didn't want to give me an answer to that question, you did answer that question, and your way of retooling would be you got to blow up the front office. Like the first move you would make is, Rick Hahn, get the fuck out of here. Fire. I mean, like that, and I think you make some good points around the player development, right? I mean, like we've definitely seen that, and we've seen choices too that like are detrimental to player development. I think that the way that Andrew Vaughn was handled is a good example, right? Or guesses at what guys are going to become are horrible, right? Like drafting Garrett Crochet and thinking this guy's totally going to be a starter. He's never done it, and he's always been injured. Right. But why would that stop him, right? Like, so like that's I get where you're coming from on that. I wonder though. I wonder if that's going to happen. I think there is. For a long time, I was of the mind that no way would that happen. I am it's a non-zero possibility to me now that Rick Hahn's going to get fired, because dude spent a lot of Jerry's money, and he fired Jerry. He like basically pushed out Jerry's boy. So those are, as much as you want to say Jerry's loyal, Jerry's loyal to his friends. You fuck with one of his friends, maybe it don't work out so well for you. I think one thing that I will say, if we're looking at like what we're going to do in the immediate to try and retool, we're all hoping that a lot of trades happen here, right? And so we're going to open up some spots. Like, think about Grandal moving out. I want to see Carlos Perez play a lot then, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see what we have.
The last 2 months
right?
of the year, right?
You got to cut Elvis Andrus.
Yeah.
Like
by August 2nd. Yeah.
And Remillard is your utility man. Like, you start bringing up these second basemen that you think you have, right? I need to see him play. And I think everybody needs to see him play at the major leagues, because Charlotte don't mean shit. Like, one of the things you might want to do is move out of Charlotte, because obviously that is not giving you a good grasp
back
on what you have.
available.
So,
there we go.
So like, So, like, I need to start seeing these guys. Oscar Colas got to play every day. I mean, they're starting to do that, so I like that. Gavin Sheets, just not on the field. Just, there's no reason for you to be on the field. And
You're the bench bat. You're the bench bat.
Exactly.
That's it. You're the bench bat.
I like Gavin Sheets. I got nothing against him. Larry Sheets got a better mustache. But...
Josh, fuck you. I can't wait to eat that steak. We're going Chicago cut because of that comment right there.
Our guy Josh is trying to get Elvis Andrews to play every day because he's got a bet on it with beef, which is, you got to stop betting with beef. But Alex, one last thing on this, we're looking at the retool and looking at, let's look at 2024, maybe even 2025. Who's a trade at this deadline or a free agent in the offseason or even a trade in the offseason that you'd be looking to make, a guy that you'd be looking to bring in to say, like, I want this guy on the roster. This guy makes sense for this team, and it's a reasonable guy that we could get.
That I want or that I think they would do?
Yeah, either or.
Because I think they would go after Jack Flaherty just because they can keep shoving down. Ethan Katz used to be a high school pitching coach down my throats. But other than that, I'd be looking towards like guys like old friend Frankie Montas, other guys, Luis Severino, guys that could be fixed up on one-year deals that would be relatively cheap, that could be good starters if Katz is the goods, as we somewhat believe. As far as position players, depending as what they get, they probably have to sign a catcher. The market out there for middle infielders isn't that great, so maybe explore the trade market there. But it all depends on what they get back at the deadline. If there's any major league ready prospects that fill some holes, and they can will have a better idea of how they'll allocate resources in the offseason.
You bring up a good point about the Katz will fix them scenario, right? Like, and do you think, like, as we're going into the trade deadline and there's teams that definitely need some of our guys, the return for that, do you want to grab any, let's call them old AA prospects, right? Like, like a guy like, and I only know this guy because great name, Dick Fitz over at in New York. I know it's Richard.
How dare you?
But like a guy like that, where he's like 24, just got up to AA, and you're like, this guy is way behind the curve. But maybe this is a guy that they like. Yeah. They like his stuff. Are you trying to get one of those guys in the return of some of these? Kind of just go like, why don't you throw that guy in? And it's a Katz will fix him guy.
Yeah, I don't even think it really has to be a Katz will fix him guy. It could be like a Davis Martin type, because Davis Martin is exactly that kind of player. It's just like you need somebody like a lower end, back end prospect that will eat innings, because over the course of the season, guys get hurt, and going in the next year, they only have 2 pitchers under control, assuming they trade like Lynn and Giolito. So they'll need all the arms they can get. So if teams are offering up starting arms, take them.
Oh, God.
I love it.
You wait till we drafted a shortstop and you're like, hey, you're going to be our 4th starting pitcher. We need a pitcher. We're just going to throw you in there.
We got to use
it. Worked for Andrew Vaughn. You just go in there and start throwing.
We're converting catchers to closers like Jason Mott.
100%.
Well, Alex, man, we appreciate you coming on, and God, the positivity out of you is just beaming in comparison to us. So I appreciate that. It's always good to talk baseball with you, and I look forward to talking with you in the stands for the rest of the season. We'll be the only ones there.
Can't wait. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again, man, and happy birthday.
Cheers,
Thank you, Alex. Happy birthday.
See you soon.
Y'all.
Always good stuff from Alex.
Yeah, Alex
always
is the
good
best,
stuff
man.
from Alex. We didn't get. I mean,
So
like,
positive.
I wish we could have brought him in during the diss tracks, because I feel like he could have had some good Jordan Miller comments. But like,
he got him.
Maybe
we don't want to get him clipped. We can't
maybe
have
next
Alex
time.
get clipped.
Maybe next
I need him on the Azul, a
got
couple
the
weeks.
ET
That's
in.
true. That's
You
true.
got the ET in. That's all that matters. You got that, though. Love the inside
incredible.
jokes. Especially when they're
God.
about Jordan Miller.
Ridiculous.
I'm assessed, man. I think it might be time to pay some bills.
Let's do it, baby. Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp might be the best place in the city of Chicago when it comes to the summertime. Located at the corner of 21st and Canal, Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp is right on the Chicago River. You can get a cold can of pop, beer, seltzer, or even a margarita to enjoy the sun on their huge outdoor patio. In addition to the best damn fried seafood in the city, you can even get dessert, triple chocolate cake, carrot cake, caramel cake, and even banana pudding. And if you are headed to a White Sox game, weekday or weekend, Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp on Canal is there for you. Order online or in-store and get all of your fried favorites to dine in or to go. And for a mere $20, you can get a 4-pack of White Claws with a reusable canvas cooler to take to the lot before the game. You can't beat that. Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp on Canal is also open 24 hours a day, so rest assured that even if the game runs late or you come into town early, they are serving up all your faves. Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp have 3 other locations besides 21st and Canal: 3242 West 87th Street in Chicago, 50 South Manheim Road in Hillside, and 3248 Vollmer Road in Olympia Fields. Visit them online at lawrencesfishandshrimp.com to see their menus and place an order, and give them a follow on their Twitter at Lawrence's Shrimp. Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp, Chicago's favorite shrimp house since 1950. Now,
Love it.
Just look at that ad. $20 for a 4-pack of White Claws. You add $40, you get 2 fucking pounds of fried food, 2 fucking orders of fries or whatever, and a fucking goddamn T-shirt. I mean,
And
people.
the cooler.
Don't forget
That
the tote,
cooler-
baby. Look at that tote.
That tote
with the
cooler
$20
is so
too. You get
key.
the $20 in there.
Oh, it's included in that too?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
with the $20.
The T-shirt itself. If we were
Now-
selling the T-shirt, MSS $30 would be the T-shirt.
Easily.
Easily.
It's at
right?
least $24.99
Yeah.
because it's 2 color and it's a fucking premium shirt. So, folks, get your ass over there. Only available at the Canal location. It is not 21st and Canal, as Mickey likes to tell me. Slim Mick likes to tell me all. It's just Canal Street. Just go over there past her, Mac. Just keep going north. You're good.
So to everybody watching or listening, there's when we do a show where we've got a guest and we're getting really into like some deep baseball talk, sometimes you may feel robbed of how much MSS you're getting in that episode. He hangs back in those. He's got thoughts, but he hangs
I did.
back. So
I thought I contributed.
He sits out of these
You
things
contributed
a little bit.
well, in my opinion.
He had a lot of nice little comments, but I know how much people want out of MSS. They yearn for MSS, and so we're bringing it back. We're bringing back MSS.
Running it
Storytime.
back. Yes.
And MSS, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Woo!
I hear you got a
Story time.
story time about a certain someone.
It's story time with MSS. That's me. The shooting of Eddie Waitkus. Now, I was looking for stories, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get some Charles Comiskey stories, right? Like, because I've heard this guy's a douchebag. He's an asshole. He wasn't really. He was cheap, but like, if you go in and you look at a lot of the stuff, and I looked at a lot of the Sabre stuff, like he paid his players more than the average. Like he was not as bad as everyone says he was. Because I was going to say, hey, we'll get rid of the Comiskey dog. Well, why do we need to remember that asshole? But then I was like, we really do need to remember that asshole because he actually wasn't as bad as everyone said he was. It's one of those things that's lost in history. You watch 8 Man Out, you think he's a douchebag. It really wasn't his fault. So I was looking around. I'm like, hey, let me find another story. I got to have some interesting stories. And I come across this guy, Eddie Waitkus. And if you guys have seen The Natural, his story is part of The Natural. They put some of that stuff in there, and they wrote a whole fucking book about him. Eddie Waitkus he was the Natural. Now let's get into who Eddie Waitkus was, and shout out to Retro Simba, which is I feel like a Cardinals blog on WordPress, which is where I stole a lot of this information from, and also MSS supported Wikipedia. I took a lot of information from too. So that's how we get these stories, and we get them all to line up. Eddie Waitkus was the son of a Lithuanian immigrant who settled in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He was an honor student and a standout athlete who excelled at baseball. Waitkus was mentored by Jack Burns, a Cambridge native who played first base in the American League for the Browns and the Tigers. Like Burns, Waitkus hit consistently well from the left side and developed into a sure-handed fielder. In 1938, while playing semi-pro baseball, Waitkus was named to an All-American team, prompting a Boston sports writer to hail him as a natural. According to the Society for American Baseball Research, which is Sabre, The Cubs signed Waitkiss after giving him a tryout in September 1938. After 2 years in the minors, Waitkiss, 21, made his big league debut as the starting first baseman for the Cubs on opening day in 1941. After returning to the minors in 1942, Waitkiss began a 3-year hitch in the Army in 1943. An amphibious engineer, he experienced extensive combat in the Pacific, including New Guinea and the Philippines, narrowly escaped being taken prisoner by the Japanese, and earned 4 Bronze Stars. Waitkiss returned to the Cubs after the war and was their first baseman from 1946 to 1948. In 1948, he was selected to the National League All-Star team. Now, we're going to talk about his friend. Ruth Ann Steinhagen was born in Cicero, Illinois, and grew up in Chicago household. As a teenager, Steinhagen became infatuated with actor Alan Ladd and Cubs outfielder Peanuts Lowry. Now, who the fuck names their kid Peanuts? And how does this motherfucker end up playing baseball? This is awesome.
I just like that Alan Ladd's in there.
Alan Ladd.
The wrong answer in Goodfellas, but the right answer here, Shane.
Yes. Beautiful.
In 1947, when she was 17, she turned her attention, her stalking, her obsessive behaviors towards Waitkiss. Steinhagen built a shrine to Waitkiss in her bedroom, talked about him constantly, and regularly bought tickets for seats near first base at Wrigley Field. I used to go to all the ball games just to watch him. Steinhagen waited outside the club's clubhouse after games to get a glimpse of Waitkiss, but they never met and never had contact. Now, I watched a little thing from Chicago Public Television today while I was writing up some notes, and apparently she was waiting outside a clubhouse, and the first time she ever saw him, she full-on fainted because she was that close to him. She fainted right on the fucking ground.
It's a bad start.
Okay, but they never met. They never talked.
Hello.
I'm not terrified.
Following the 1948 season, the Cubs traded Waitkiss to the Philadelphia Phillies. Once he was traded to the Phillies, Steinhagen's obsession grew to dangerous proportions. In early May 1940, In early May 1949, Steinhagen said she decided to kill Waitkiss. She told her mother and a friend of her intentions, according to the United Press, but they did not believe her. According to the New York Times, Steinhagen also said, "I was just building in my mind the idea of killing him. As time went on, I just became nuttier and nuttier about the guy. I knew I would never get to know him in a normal way, so I keep thinking, I will never get him, and if I can't have him, nobody else can. Then I decided I would kill him." Steinhagen reserved a room at the Edgewater Beach Hotel, where the Phillies stayed, and registered as Ruth Ann Burns of Boston. She brought with her a paring knife featuring a 3.5-inch blade and a .22 caliber rifle. She was planning to stab him and intended to use the gun to commit suicide. On June 14th, 1949, the Phillies played the Cubs at Wrigley Field. After the game, she went to the hotel room. Waitkiss went to a restaurant to have dinner with friends. While he was out, Steinhagen tipped a bellhop $5 and asked him to deliver a note to Waitkiss. Steinhagen ordered 2 whiskey sours and a daiquiri from room service, settled in with her drinks, and waited for Waitkiss to respond. The note said, "Mr. Waitkiss, it's extremely important that I see you as soon as possible. We're not acquainted, but I have something of importance to speak to you about, and I think it would be to your advantage to let me explain it to you." After insisting she was leaving the hotel the next day and pressing the timeliness of their request, she concluded, "I realize this is a little out of the ordinary, but as I said, it's rather important. Please, come soon. I won't take up much of your time, I promise." Waitkiss asked the desk clerk to tell him who had registered in room 1297A. When informed it was Ruth Ann Burns of Boston, Waitkiss wondered whether it might be a relative of his hometown baseball mentor, Jack Burns. Waitkiss joined teammates Bill Nicholson and Russ Meyer for a drink at the hotel bar. He showed them the note and decided to act out of curiosity. I had started to fall asleep when the phone rang and a voice said, "What's this all about?" It was Eddie. Steinhagen said to the International News Service, "I told him it was important. I see him, but I could not see him tomorrow. He said he couldn't make it, and I said, how about tonight?" Waitkiss' son later speculated that his father may have thought he had a hot honey on the line, so he agreed to go to the room. Waitkus agrees to come to the room in 30 minutes. When he arrived, about 11:30, he knocked on the door. Steinhagen opened the door and asked him to enter. She was holding a purse containing the knife. Waitkus entered the room briskly, startling Steinhagen and giving her no time to reach for the knife. He walked toward the far corner and sat down in an armchair. I might not have shot him if he had come in differently without so much confidence, Steinhagen said to the United Press. He swaggered in. As Waitkus settled into the chair, Steinhagen reached into the closet for the rifle, pointed at him, and told him to stand near the window, the Chicago Tribune reported. I thought at first it was a practical joke, Waitkus said. I thought the players had planned it. Steinhagen wasn't fooling. She had the coldest looking face I ever saw, Waitkus said. Absolutely no expression. I have a surprise for you, Steinhagen told Waitkus. You're not going to bother me anymore. What have I done? He pleaded. Steinhagen shot him in the right side of his chest at the range of 5 feet. The bullet pierced the lung, ripped into his thick muscles in his back, and lodged near his spine. Waitkus slumped to the floor, rolled on his back, and said, "Oh, baby, why did you do that?" Steinhagen told police she lacked the courage to commit suicide as planned. Now, I read this in another blog. She didn't have another bullet, so she couldn't kill herself. So, and I
Good
don't know.
Good first shot. You gotta admit.
She just had one bullet. And I don't know if I've shot a 22. I've never shot. That's the only gun I've ever shot. A 22 isn't anything. You could kill a maybe a squirrel. You know, like you can't kill much with a 22. So you're probably not going to have you can mess your brain up maybe, but I don't think you're going to kill yourself.
From 5 feet, you could definitely kill someone.
Well, I don't know, man. They're really small bullets. Anyway, bless the shirt.
They're bullets, though.
This is a challenge. Tracy, this is a challenge. We're going to shoot MSS with a 22 and see what happens.
How much money you got? Let's just. You put me. I have health insurance. How much money you got? So anyway, Steinhagen told police she lacked courage to commit suicide as planned. She called the hotel operator and said she had shot a man. She held Waitkus's head on her lap until help arrived. Now, so this poor guy gets shot by this woman. He has no idea. He's going in there thinking maybe he's going to get peace, and then he gets shot by the woman. And not
too horny.
And even after that, she grabs him. He can't move because he's been shot. And she's like, "Oh, here, sit in my lap. I'll comfort you now that I've tried to kill you." I mean, this is total insanity. Who the fuck? I mean, I can't. No. Doctors said Steinhagen was suffering from schizophrenia or a split personality, and she is either schizophrenic or deep in the influence of a major hysteria. Now, major hysteria is something that they use to describe women that were just emotional and like maybe just had a screw loose, you know, or whatever going down the road. There's like, she just has a lot of hysteria. Like, who the fuck knows? This weekend, people were saying, they're talking about how the Hims commercials for Hims and there's for hers, and the for him stuff is all like boner pills and like that kind of shit, and the for her stuff is like how to relieve stress and get rid of like all this craziness that's around you. Like, it's just how they market to people.
Don't
it's
shoot
just
people.
Totally different. On June 30th, 1949, 2 weeks after the shooting, Steinhagen was arraigned on a charge of assault with intent to commit murder, indicted on the charge by a grand jury and found insane by the jury. Chief Justice James McDermott of Criminal Court in Chicago committed Steinhagen to a state mental health hospital, which I think is in Kankakee. Yes. Waitkus did not press charges against Steinhagen, but a criminal court judge ruled her insane and ordered her to committed to the Kankakee State Hospital, where she stayed for nearly 3 years after the shooting. Further charges were never brought against her, and she lived a reclusive life in Chicago's Northwest Side. Now, Waitkus spent a month in Chicago hospital before returning to Philadelphia on July 17th in 1949. Living alone in a Philadelphia apartment, unsure of his baseball future, and physically weak and emotionally scarred, Waitkus told J.G. Taylor Spink of the Sporting News, "If I had thought I had to go through the same thing again, the many operations, the fears, the uncertainty, the mental torture, I think I would rather die. It was really rugged." In November 1949, Waitkus went with Phillies trainer Frank Wellick to Clearwater Beach, Florida, and underwent a grueling 3-month program to get physically fit to play baseball. By the time the Phillies reported for spring training in Florida in February 1950, Waitkus was ready to join them. If it had not been for
this
Frank,
guy played again after
he did.
this?
Now, not only did he play,
It's impressive.
You just take a minute. So, but like, okay, and again, this is 1950. and he's talking about how grueling the workout program is. I can only imagine what barbaric things they were doing, like go wrestle this alligator, or go catch this dolphin.
That's how you get your punctured lung strong.
I assume it was like
leeches.
You got to run. Give me 50 laps while you're smoking a pack of cigarettes.
Well,
bullet went through his chest, man.
Now listen,
got to work those lungs out.
There's a lot.
Plus your stress.
Now, Treasy, there's a lot coming. You might have just hit on something. If it had not been for Frank, our trainer, I don't think I could have done it, Wakefield said. He was a combination of a father, confessor, and a Simon Legree. I don't know what the fuck that means, but anyway, I should have Googled it, and I didn't. Fucking my bad. It was he who felt the wrath of all my worries, my pent-up fears, who listened sympathetically when my nerves were jagged. And that was one thing his son said, too. He was a confident dude, and then, he lost all his confidence after he got shot by a woman in a hotel. I mean, it fucks with your mind.
I can see it, yeah.
Right?
It seems obvious to me.
Don't feel too bad, though, because while in Clearwater Beach, Wakefield met a 20-year-old Carol Weber, who, while was vacationing with her family from New York, the couple were married. Yeah, not yet. The couple were married a year later on November 17th, 1951. Wakefield earned back his job at spring training in 1950. Dick Sizzler, great name.
Attaboy.
The former Cardinal, who replaced Wakefield at first base after the shooting, went to left field, just like another guy we know, except he went from left field to first base. So maybe somebody's going to shoot Andrew Vaughn. Who knows? Wakefield batted .284, had 182 hits, and scored 102 runs for the 1950 Phillies, who won the National League pennant. Though the Phillies were swept by the Yankees in the World Series, Wakefield had 4 hits and 2 walks in the 4 games. So he took his team to the
all the way back.
Soon after the start of the 1952 baseball season, Steinhagen was released from the psychiatric hospital where she had spent 3 years. She moved back into the Chicago house with her parents and her sister and disappeared into near obscurity, according to the Trip. Wakefield continued to hit for average, 289, 290, but the Phillies sold his contract to the Orioles in 1954. At 34, he was no longer considered an everyday player. The Orioles released Wakefield in July 1955. The Phillies signed him and released him again after the season. He finished his playing career with a .285 batting average and 1,214 hits. According to the Society for American Baseball Research, Wakefield began drinking heavily. He went to work for a trucking company, which I don't know how those two mix up, but battled alcoholism and depression. His marriage suffered, and he and Carol, the parents of 2 children, separated in 1960. In 1961, Wakefield, suffering from anxiety, was admitted to a hospital for treatment. His son, Eddie Wakefield Jr., known as Ted, told the Denver Post the shooting was an emotional part of his father's life. His nerves were shattered for a while. In the shooting, the son said, he survived 3 years in the jungles of the Philippines with barely a scratch. And he comes back here, and this crazy honey with a gun, as he used to say, takes him out. I love it. I love it. I guess there was a whole book written, too, about, the hardest part about baseball. It's the dames was the name of the book. It was all the girls. I just, went crazy on it, which, all right, I guess it was. In 1963, Wakefield moved back to his hometown of Cambridge and rented a room in a house. Oh, that's so sad. He lived alone and spent summers as a coach at the Ted Williams baseball camp in Lakeville, Massachusetts. A longtime smoker, Wakefield, 53, died at a Veterans Administration hospital in Boston on September 16, 1972, a victim of esophageal cancer. 40 years later, Steinhagen, 83, died on December 29, 2012, after an accidental fall in her house. There were no survivors. She was a recluse who never spoke of the shooting. Her death went unnoticed until the Chicago Tribune reported it 3 months later on March 15, 2013, while reviewing public records for another story. And that is MSS Story Time for Eddie Wakefield.
Tremendous. That was great.
Wonderfully done. I don't mean to make light of the situation, but I'm just trying. I'm trying to read back through this, and the whole thing was she wanted to meet him. She wanted to hook up with him. She was obsessed with him.
Yeah,
I think she wanted to keep him in a jar.
But he was down with it.
Yes.
Yeah, but it wasn't sexual, or it had overtones of sexuality, but it was something different. I agree with MSS.
I know
she wanted him in a jar. Like
I get that.
Keep him in a jar. Is it wrong if I want to keep him in my basement in a jar? Is it wrong if I want to wear his skin? Yes.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Yes, it
she
is.
went about it the wrong way. She could have went like Misery style.
Yeah, Annie Wilkes. She could have been Annie Wilkes.
She could have went Annie Wilkes.
Trapped him in and broke his feet. Whatever. It's
Just
Man, that is a great scene. But
crazy story. And I like to cut these down sometimes. I I was like, let's just get to the important parts. I couldn't because there was a lot going on and it continued to go. And I was like, I just got to roll with this. I'm just rolling. It's going to roll with this one. So
I was listening along and I'm like, it's a wild story. But then you're starting to tell the aftermath of it. And I was like, man, I bet he just never got back to normal. And it's like, and then he had this great season. And it's like, what? How did the guy basically lost a lung? And he's just like, yeah, I'm going to take the team to the pennant.
yep.
SPF puts in there, no beef. She wanted the D. I think at one time she did. But she got to the point where the obsession went too far, and she didn't want that anymore. She just wanted to move on to some other obsession, but she couldn't until she eliminated this one. This is bizarre. This is it's interesting stuff.
She did
If
say
you're Peanuts Lowry, how
You
lucky
got
do you
so
feel?
goddamn lucky, man. You are a
my
lucky
God.
son of a bitch.
she said in a lot of things that she'd always felt off and she was never felt totally comfortable. But after she shot him, then she felt totally fine. So
Man.
it cured her of
wild.
whatever anxiety she had. It helped her get through some of that. So that was why they say that. And honestly, if she had not acted as quickly as she did and called the front desk and say she shot somebody, he would have died. So she saved his. She almost ended his life, but then she also saved his life. So
I will
it's
say,
that's just a weird.
I've always
thing.
had some level of anxiety, to deal with. And now that I know that all I need to do is shoot MSS with a 22, and he'll be fine.
And he won't die. He said he's
fine.
going to be
It's
fine.
just a 22.
Just kill squirrels.
So, I'll feel great after it. So, what are you
I'll
doing
look
this
it up.
weekend, MSS?
I don't know. You got a 22?
He can get his hands on one.
None of your business. I don't think we got to these drinks. I'm sorry. I was during the show. I was very enthralled in our conversation.
I appreciate
and I think
that.
I missed a few drinks.
Bring him back
I don't know.
Even if we already got him. Let's
Did
bring
we
him
get
again.
this one? It's from
think
Senior
so.
Sox. Are we still going to Polecats for your birthday, Alex?
I don't think we did. I don't think we brought that
Senior
up.
Sox.
Where's our invite? What the fuck?
He tipped
And,
again too, right?
we like-
Yeah, and
We
he said
Polecats.
I heart Rude. And then he said, P.S. Where's my sticker, MSS?
Sent it. They got lost. There's two of them that gotten lost. So.
The car decal, right?
Yeah, I told him I sent him another one. He's like, "Don't worry about it. It'll show up." And then he's like, "That he just wanted to bust my balls." I get it.
Maybe
Yeah, that's it.
maybe the ornament will start working again. You never know.
I'll send him one. I sent him another one. He's got two of them.
Bless
I know,
up
but-
on that.
But MSS, then it started working again, right? That was
I think
the
so.
whole thing.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
conned
All right.
you. He's conned you.
He's a dick.
Fellas, it's time for the thank yous and the GFYs. So, MSS,
Yeah.
who are you thanking this week?
I want to thank everyone. I don't want to thank my fucking internet. I want to thank everyone that ordered our new merch that we just concluded the pre-sale, I think, on Wednesday. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon that I shut it all down, and nobody really got in there. Thank you, everyone that did that. Go fuck yourself, everyone that asked me to order kid shirts and then didn't. So I offer up something that you guys have been bitching that we haven't done, for the last 3 years. Hey, when are you going to do kid shirts? When are you going to do kid shirts? I ordered up kid shirts. Nobody fucking ordered them. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. All right. Have a good one.
Beef, who are you thinking?
I'm going to thank Alex Rude for coming on, not only for coming on tonight, but for being a really good guest for us. Over the past year plus 2 years, ever, he's been terrific on my show. And I was actually talking to a prominent Sox podcast host, and he's like, "Beef, you're so right about guests. It's hard to get good guests, and Alex is a really good guest, and so that's why I want to hold on to him, and I don't want the other. So if your other podcast listeners do not have Alex Rude on, I'll fucking kill you."
Yes. Let's buy him a mic.
Yeah, for my thank you, I want to thank our guy Colin over in the UK. So he won the Luis Robert bobblehead.
Yeah.
And I messaged him. I didn't know who it was. I messaged him and I was like, "Hey, you won the bobblehead. Send me your address." And he's like, "Dude, I'm in the UK. It would cost you an ungodly amount of money to send that to me. Why don't you just sell it and give the money to charity?" And that's awesome. And tomorrow I will be delivering that bobblehead to MSS so that he could do that work. But
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Put more on your plate, MSS.
But
You're coming by tomorrow?
Here's the thing. I'm just gonna stop by during the day. Don't worry. You don't even need to be home. Hello. I'll just break into your house.
I love it.
But
Use this one too.
that dog will be in there too when you get home. The thing about it is like it's not so much the money to charity or anything. It's just like he honestly could have just been like, "Dude, all right, here's my address," and we would have
Send it.
like $75 to send a bobblehead. I would have done it, but I do appreciate it, and I appreciate the idea of like let's give this to charity. But yeah,
We'll
so
donate money to the local Boys and Girls Club. So I'll put that up, and then we'll get some people. Top bed, like 4 days or some shit. Yeah,
absolutely. So thank you everybody, and
Thanks.
thank you to Alex Root for joining us tonight. Great time with all of you, and we will see you in the park pretty soon. Have a good night, everyone.
Tuesday. Bye.